So the data analysis was, where do I position myself to meet potential clients, to get secure potential clients? I had to go where they were. Where can I get them all at one time? I started very young at 15. My career started out in sports and entertainment. I was on a TV show called Dancing on Air, and it was like Soul Train. I don't know if you know anything about Soul Train here in America. Don Cornelius had this big mega show called Soul Train. So we were kind of like the small imitation of it in Philadelphia. And it started out just being a dancer on the show, but I really it's not that I wasn't comfortable with the camera. I was more interested in what was going on behind the camera, what was going on behind the scenes. How did the whole production come together? And then from, people in the homes, they're looking at it, and then they were looking at us as stars. Like, we were walking around our own hometown and people were like, "Can I get your autograph?" And I'm like, "For what?" Like, I'm just on a dance show. So I thought it was interesting, but it started there. And I discovered a friend of mine who was a rapper, and he was my first artist. And we just had a reunion a couple weeks ago. He was one of my best friends. I got two guys that I grew up with, and they were my childhood best friends. They were my first loves, and they broke my heart. Not in a romantic way, but as friendships. And I discovered them, and they kind of just, I just went into this management beast mode, they said. And they just said, "We were only 12 years old, Paris, and you just was like 10 sit-ups, 20 sit-ups." It was like, I wanted them to be perfect so we can, get out there and get a record deal or so forth. And I got fired. They fired me. Of all people, they fired me. And I was hurt. I was devastated. And but we all continue to move on and progress, and we're all doing successful. And that just prompted me to keep moving forward. I love entertainment, and I just started managing and working in different forces in Philadelphia. I was on radio, I was on TV, I was a TV production assistant. And then I started my company in January of 1990. So it's been over 30 years. Just doing a lot of entertainment, worked a lot of conferences, a lot of summits, worked with some of the biggest names in the industry, from management to being an assistant. So someone actually suggested that I do sports, become a sports agent. And I was like, "For what? What is that?" Like, well, I supposed to just wake up one day and be like, "Hey, I'm a sports agent." It's not that easy. But it was something that said, okay, maybe I need to be transitioning somewhere else where my services are needed. So I did an internship with our Philadelphia Metro newspaper, which had just begun 2 years prior. And they asked me to do a story on Super Bowl 36, which was in New Orleans. It was the Patriots and the Rams. But I didn't know anything about football. But I found out that the Super Bowl had a committee where you can volunteer if you were a resident of the city and the state that the Super Bowl was hosted. I don't know how I got in, but I lied and said I lived in New Orleans, but I did. So I became a volunteer ambassador for the Super Bowl host committee. That was the beginning of me saying, I think I like this. So I started to kind of just work my way through learning who's who, what. I came home and I started taking sports classes. At the time, I was studying law at Temple University. And I was like, okay, this is not the direction I want to go. And it was a lot going on with school, so I left. And I started just going to sports conferences, sports summits. I just said, you know what? Sports chose me. I didn't choose it. This is where I'm at. But as I got to progress, I became really in love with the NFL, what they stand for, what the play. I really got to know the players behind the helmet. And I started asking questions. What do you need? How can I help you? What are your problems? How can I solve your problems? Some players didn't go back to school. They left college early because of their NFL eligibility. A lot of them just didn't have business intelligence. They didn't have business acumen. So I wanted to help build that up. So the data analysis was, where do I position myself to meet potential clients, to get secure potential clients? I had to go where they were. Where can I get them all at one time? So I would go to Miami and it would just be a flood of athletes just vacationing, working out, and partying, right? So we can walk into a restaurant and it would be 10 football players. Okay, out of 10, I might get 2. Or you're walking down the street and you see a Hall of Famer, right? So that was my data analysis. Now today, let's talk about today. It's totally different. I'm not going to Miami because no one is really, people are not really vacationing in Miami anymore. It's not like it used to be. So you have Instagram, you have Twitter, you have Facebook, you have LinkedIn, right? So you have to do your data analysis. Where are they most active? Sports is a little different. So the matrix, it's more so if they're asking me to do their social media. The matrix is, how many people am I reaching, right? And then my question is, well, why you want to reach these people and what are you offering these people? Because, a bunch of likes mean nothing at the end of the day if it's not an impactful light, right? That's why YouTubers, influencers are called influencers, right? On Sunday, I have a guilty pleasure. I watch YouTube influencers all day. Next thing you know, I'm out in TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and Ross for less buying what I just saw them buy, right? So the matrix is a little different when it comes to sports because the matrix is their social media. So whatever social media they're on, we're taking the data from that, because now I have to see where your fan base is coming from. What I do is I look at every single follower, because I always tell players, please don't focus on the quantity, focus on the quality. Because if I go through your entire 1.3 million followers, most of them are scammers. So we pull the data from Google Analytics to determine where are those followers coming from. If they're a high ratio of scammers, we have to clean that out, because you don't want to falsify what your engagement is, right? Because then you can't uphold to that, right? If I had 1.3 million followers, you would think I'm really, really special, right? Like, you think I'm special, but you would really be like, yo, she really, really special. But if you really took the time to pull the Google Analytic metrics and go through each of my followers, and you find out that I purchased them, that I'm paying someone to throw numbers into my engagement, then Instagram also has a I don't know it off point, but you can also go through your engagement metrics to see where your engagement likes are coming from. So you ever go into your Instagram and you get these unsolicited messages, and if you accept, and we try to eliminate those as much as possible. And the way you do that is you have to go through the Google Analytic metrics, because you have to clean all that out. So it's a constant sweep. I'm not using a particular data software. It's what they're using, and then we're pulling the metric analytics from there, and then reviewing it from that point. And we also use Hootsuite, which all of our social media is on one platform, and they also supply that data metric as well. You have to love it. You have to have a passion for it. I love what I do, and I didn't get paid for a very long time. I love this so much that I breathe, I eat, I live it. I live the NFL, right? Now I'm a contractor. I'm not employed by the NFL. I'm a contractor with the NFL players, and then some of the events that are held during the Super Bowl every year. I branded myself so well. People think I actually am employed by the NFL. They ask me, "Oh, girl, you're an executive at the NFL." I'm like, no, I'm not yet.